Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of our podcast, The Empowering Voices of Female Coaches. I'm thrilled to announce our today's guest. Her name is Natalie Cook from Sydney, Australia, and she is a remarkable leadership coach. And her journey has been absolutely inspiring. And it's very safe to say her path has been anything but just conventional. So her childhood was very challenging, but she found strength in adversity. And that just makes her a very incredible person, as well as an incredible leadership coach. In her rich background in executive leadership, as well as the project management, Natalie brings a holistic approach to leadership coach. I know these days everybody talks about leadership, and that has become a bit of buzzword, but we are here today to learn from her and her amazing journey and amazing skills to see what is this all about in leadership coaches and how we can adapt some of it, hopefully, in our today's life. So, and we become a bit of leader in our day-to-day life. So without further ado, welcome Natalie to our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, really appreciate your time, valuable time. We've been trying to arrange this day for such a long time, but finally we're there.
Perseverance has paid off, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you don't mind, I'm just gonna jump right on the questions.
Right.
Because I know our audience want to know all about the leadership coaching and learn from your journey. Is it okay?
Perfect, thanks.
Well, I've got the question. Actually, I've written the question, so it will be a nicely framed. So I'm just, if you don't mind, I'm going to read it from the paper. So,
Right.
and that the first one is, I just want to know about your obviously challenging childhood that you had, and just tell me about what was the pivotal moment in your life that shaped your decision to become a coach.
Yeah, great. Thanks for asking that question, Helia. It's really nice to be able to share. And yes, my childhood was fairly traumatic and turbulent, I'll describe it as. Grew up with violence, and at one point it was actually safer for me to live on the streets than it was at home. So it is quite defining when you have those experiences. And what I've actually done is turn those lived experiences into something that actually helps me put together a holistic program of my coaching, but also in how I live my life day to day. So I'm a mum to 6 kids, including foster children and adopted children and biological children. I've had up to 7 children in my care at one time. It's a really calm household. I just love supporting these kids, and it actually then translates into how I operate as a business owner and a coach. And those values, I guess, and my absolute ambition to create and maintain an environment where people thrive, it actually comes through into my coaching services. So it's pretty exciting to be able to offer coaching to people that help them actually reframe a lot of those limiting beliefs that may have come from their childhood experiences or other trauma or even just their self-worth. So what's actually really, really lovely to be able to see is actually working with my clients to get them to reframe and actually unlock this amazing potential and just watch them thrive.
Wow, that's incredible. Thank you very much for sharing that. I guess we all have choices in life. Some people, when those things happens to them, is just define their life or label it as being a bad luck or a victim. But you chose not to be a victim, and not only you survived and thrived, you are on a mission to help others to thrive as well. And that's
absolutely. And even as a child going through those experiences at the time, I never had that victim sort of mentality. I was always thinking, I think God's going to use these experiences for me to help others. And to be able to have that sort of sense as a 14-year-old, it gave me a lot of hope. And it actually made me focus outwardly and not inwardly. So it was actually quite a blessing to be able to have that mindset around it. It wasn't easy, but I was always looking to the future during that time.
Wow. Oh, thanks for saying that, because that's the thing. Many people think that being a victim, so that's not easy. But it's actually not to be a victim is not easy. But it's all about choices. So,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, some people, they tend to take the easy path in their life and then put fingers on others and blame the whole world for what's happening to them instead of taking responsibility. And to rise up. Yeah, no, that's amazing. Oh, I'm so excited for this. So the next question is, obviously you have a lifelong learning is a core value for you. So can you tell us about a particular lesson or insight you have gained from studies or experience that has significantly influenced your coaching approach?
Yeah, I think because of my childhood, I was never great at school because I couldn't concentrate for a start, and I was always late, and my school years were quite disrupted. And so I left in year 10 when you could, and I went to business college, and it seemed to ignite something in me. I have this absolute passion for learning. And once I went to business college, it just seemed to turn something on for me. And such that I actually went back and did my HSC when I was 24, because I always wondered how I go. And it's probably no surprise to find out that I actually topped the college in my marks with that particular cohort that went through, because I'm now so passionate about learning that I'm actually making sure that I learn something every single day. And it's even gone on to when I did my master's. So being a business owner quite a few years ago, I absolutely know what it's like to have skin in the game in a business. I had 15 employees. It was a lot of pressure. We were growing really, really fast. Our revenue increased by 265% in the first 6 months of ownership. And that sounds fantastic, right? But there's so much stress that comes with that. The cash flow, the resourcing, the planning. It's actually not necessarily a great thing. But we did manage it through by increasing prices in some areas, putting on different service offerings. But what I found was the biggest insight that I got was when I sold that business and went into the workforce, my skills weren't valued because I didn't have a qualification.
Wow.
So that's when I actually went and formalized my business experience by doing my master's. And it was then that I was actually taken more seriously. But what's actually really, really interesting is when I came to do my master's, I'm not saying I knew everything, but I was pretty damn close. And doing my master's, I was like, oh, is that what you call that thing that we did when I had the business?
Wow.
So I guess my biggest insight is it doesn't matter how many degrees you have or qualifications or anything like that. It's actually what you bring and your lived experience is to what I consider to be valuable.
Wow, amazing. Well, I think I've known you more than a year, but this is something definitely new. And again, as always, you raise my respect for yourself. Every time goes more up, and I'm
Thank you.
so much in awe of what you've done and all your amazing experiences and your journey. Because as you know, I'm a bit of an envy degree, like, well, that's what my mentor defines me. So, and definitely, yes, there is nothing comparing to experience. Doesn't matter how much academic, certification we have and all those degrees behind our name, but experience is something that nothing compare. And that's a great segue to my next question.
Oh.
About AI. Yes, that's another buzzword of these days. And I know you are an expert in AI.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far, but I love to dabble in AI.
Well, so I know that AI, of course, it just makes our life way easier.
Mm.
But yeah, just tell us how AI and leadership are going hand in hand. How we
Yeah.
use AI in leadership.
Yeah, I think using AI in leadership, like there's quite a responsibility in using AI. So, there's quite a bit of governance and ethics around it. So, for example, like I've been working in a university context, contracting and working in an artificial intelligence unit, which is really, really exciting. And there's a lot of work that's being done around the ethics side and governance. And that's actually really, really important because, particularly in those contexts, when there's plagiarism or not doing your own work, it's something really important to be mindful of. So we'll just sort of get the administrative, boring things out of the way in the beginning. And what I'd like to do is actually show you a couple of examples of how you can use AI. So what's really important to know, though, before we get started on that is AI, it's not perfect and it's not always right. So it's really, really important to check what it spits out. So more often than not, it's not that big a deal. But if you're in journalism, for example, and you're using AI to help assist with writing articles, well, that would be a fairly critical point where you would check the accuracy of any information that's in there. If you're just using it to help you write business plans and things like that, well, the accuracy doesn't matter because you can actually read it for yourself and see if it resonates with your vision and mission. So, but it is actually quite a powerful tool. Other things to remember is there's a lot of built-in bias, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you shortly, and I'll explain more what's happening with that. And yeah, it's quite interesting, some of the built-in biases that are coming through, which is effectively because it's drawing on the World Wide Web. Those biases are obviously embedded all throughout history, such as, when you say generate an image of a CEO, why is it always a white man that comes up in the images, for example? So, there's a long way for it to go, but it is still a really powerful tool. So I'd like to just do a bit of a demonstration, if you like.
Thank you.
I'm just going to share my screen.
Sure.
Is that showing for you?
Not.
Hang on, now it will.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, can you see my ChatGPT there?
That's right. Yes, I can.
Okay, so what I wanted to show you first is there is an image generator that you can use, and I'm now going to ask it to generate an image. So maybe I'm doing a post or something for LinkedIn and I want it to generate an image. I just want to show you some of the things it can do, but some of the things to look out for. So I'm just going to type in there, create an image of a CEO in a boardroom delivering a presentation.
Mhm.
And it just takes a moment to generate. Ah, that's really interesting. Normally, it
Wow.
shows a male.
Oh,
I was wrangling with it before, so it may have had a memory of that I'm not very
exactly.
tolerant of that. So
Yeah.
that's not a bad start. So you can wrangle it and you can say, now make the executive team more diverse. It's always a bit of a gamble. It comes up with something different every single time, but it's always interesting.
Very interesting.
What I find is the images aren't that photorealistic, but that one's actually not too bad. That one's not too bad. So you could actually use that perhaps in a LinkedIn post, for example. So just extending that further. So if we just went and opened a new chat, and I prepared a prompt earlier,
Sure.
I'll just paste in. And I find when you put the prompts in, is if you use personas, so you say, I'm, say, applying for the role of an HR director, it actually understands more about what content may be appropriate to spit back out at you. So this is a simple one. I'm applying for a role of HR director. Help me prepare for the interview. What are some key questions I may be asked in the interview? So it's just generating a response. And this is a really powerful way of how you could do something simple like preparing for an interview.
Wow.
And it does remember. So if you're starting to use, say, ChatGPT and it's getting to know you, and say even if you perhaps have a website or something that you refer to often in your prompts, it will start to remember that and then be able to give you really targeted information. So it can be quite a powerful tool. Likewise, you could do something like, say, help me write a communication plan to deliver to the executive team on the merit of purchasing MS 365 Copilot licenses for the team. And you can see how quickly it generates something for you. And you might look at that and think, oh, it's not really what I thought it was going to do. You can actually ask subsequent questions and you can get better and better, and it can actually become more and more refined. Or you might say, actually, that's not a bad first draft, so I think I'll go with that. So, it's just a really powerful way of actually assisting you in making data-driven decisions, which is really key. It helps with operational excellence because sometimes you can actually increase the quality of the output, such as having a more comprehensive plan rather than trying to devise something yourself. And it can actually assist you with your leadership skills because you can actually then have a solid communication plan that's holistic to make sure that you convey the key messages to the team.
Wonderful. It feels like you've got your own PA, expert PA next to you all the time.
Yes, we often liken it to having a team of interns. They don't always get it right, but they get it pretty close.
Yes.
So it's actually a really effective way to expand your resourcing. So if you're going to perhaps hire someone in comms and someone in marketing and the like, you can actually, say, please create me a marketing plan to market my leadership coaching services. And whereas before I may have paid someone to actually go ahead and do that for me, now I can actually just do that myself as a first draft. It may not be as good as what they may have produced because they have the expertise, but it's probably good enough for a lot of business owners to not have to fork out that sort of money. So it even breaks it down by what you should do in the first few months. And you can then say, now create a comprehensive 90-day plan.
Wow.
And then it will actually then come up with the actual tasks that you need to do to put a plan in place to achieve that goal.
It's amazing.
It's pretty powerful, isn't it?
Yes. Like in fairy tale story, we have like your own fairy tale next to you. This is like your own secret fairy sitting up there, asking a question, and it just tells you and whisper you everything.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So it's pretty powerful. And I use it a lot working with my clients to get some efficiencies in. It's a really good way of preparing, say, a 90-day plan. And then you do have to go back through and edit it and make sure that it's hitting the mark. So it does take some wrangling or some prompt engineering. You may have heard that term. And it's just about reprompting and reprompting until it gets it right. So part of the quality output you get is the quality of the prompt that you put in. And the more information you put in, the better result that you'll get.
That's great. So basically you can, teach it or just coach your own prompt or your own chat GPT to become your own personal advisor.
Yes, that's right. It will never replace, say, as a coach, if I use ChatGPT, it's not actually going to replace me, but it's going to enhance and make efficient what we do together. So it's actually a really good productivity tool, and it can help us not burn time on getting into the intricacies. We can just use it as the first draft and go through and say, actually, that resonates. Oh, that one's not quite right. Let's re-prompt for that bit. Actually, that's not too bad. And then we start to build the plan. You still need that human interaction with it, but it makes a very good first draft.
That's amazing. And I think that goes back to the first question I had about AI, that before that we were talking about the value of experience. Doesn't matter how many degrees you have, it's just experience. It just brings different level to the table, into the business, into the world. And that's the same thing for AI. It doesn't matter how much information is being fed to it, but the experience of the person or the user is absolutely the next level of
Absolutely.
AI cannot compete to that one.
Yes. And it is a good point that you raised there, Hilia, because that experience enables you to discern what information you can use out of those responses from ChatGPT. So you're not going to diminish your skills. It's just a productivity tool, and it's a summarization tool. So it just brings information together that would take you a long time to compile, and it just saves you so much time.
I can see that, definitely. It's amazing. Thank you very much for that. Now, my next question is this, that in your work with leaders, what are some common barriers, or challenges you see that prevent people from reaching their full potential, and how do you help them overcome these obstacles?
Yes, it is something I see a lot, and probably the biggest obstacle is limiting beliefs.
Wow.
So the limiting beliefs are, I can't do that. And so what my role is as a coach is, why not? Oh, because why? Oh, because of this. Really? Tell me more about that. And we actually get to the bottom of the reason why they think something's not possible. And sometimes this is really subtle, and it could be just the language that they're using that can hold them back. So I do a lot of work on reframing. So for example, I had a client that wasn't getting clients in, and she felt that it was because they were being punished by the locals because someone saw her husband drive down the main street in a fancy car.
Wow.
And I said, oh, that's really interesting. So were all of your clients standing along the street as he drove that car down the street? No. And I said, can you help me understand what the nexus is to that fancy car being driven and the lack of clients? Do you think there may be some more going on? So this was over a period of a couple of weeks. I'm giving you a short version. But we were able to unpack that actually it had nothing to do with the car, and that was a limiting belief. But because it was being told to them, it was how they were showing up. So they were like, we're no good, we're being punished, we can't do this, we have some shame about that, or whatever it is going on, but it's actually how you end up showing up. And so working with that particular client, we've been able to turn around that thinking, reframe, and now they're actually like, the work is coming in. It's like we've turned on the tap, and it's not magic. It's because she's now showing up differently. She's more confident. She's standing up for herself. She's got a seat at the table. She's got a presence, and people now want to work with her.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazingly transformative when you tackle those limiting beliefs and you reframe. It is like magic, but it's not.
It's amazing. I think exactly that's what you do. The leadership coaching, my understanding, is all about that transformative coaching that transform the person from inside out, and their perspective to life, and whatever is holding them back. Like what you mentioned about your particular client, to my mind, in my experience, it came out that they have a fear of success. But the way you unpacked it, it just makes sense. It's amazing because it goes further down to address that, and that's reframing the situation.
Yes, that's right.
Love
it's a very powerful tool.
It is. Thank you. Well, even as a coach, I'm learning from you. So we all are learning from each other. That is super amazing. That's what I love in
Always.
these interviews, because it's not only a one way. So we
That's right.
amazing. So now looking ahead, what are some goals or aspiration you have for your coaching practice? And how do you envision continuing to make a difference in the lives of those you work with?
That's a really great question. And what I've actually done is I've put together a new program because I wanted to be able to reach more. And if you're doing just one-to-one with clients, you actually reach capacity very quickly. So what I've actually done is I've devised a new program called the Limitless Leaders Program.
Wow.
And it actually enables me to get people to work on their why and whatever limiting beliefs are holding them back. Because I find if you're clear on your why, everything else seems to fall into place. And what it can do is actually help you to focus, particularly when your vision and mission are aligned to your why. Everything falls out of that. It cascades. And that's where you get the focus and the traction, and your team get the understanding of what you're trying to achieve. And it all just means that you're all actually working towards the common goal. And you very quickly realize if you're doing something that is actually not aligned to those goals and not serving you to achieve those goals. So my program identifies all of that. We identify the ideal client so that we know who we're targeting. And then we create the 90-day plan. You have a tactical plan to work through within that 90 days. And that is truly transformative. I've seen people go from, oh, I think I'll charge $50 an hour or whatever, to actually charging what they're worth and their value, and then actually putting programs together that are going to serve their clients well. Because if we have someone charging $50 an hour for a service, it's not sustainable. And it's really important. Like some of my clients, the work that they do is so, so important. And it's actually really, really critical that they develop their service offering in a sustainable way so that they can actually reach more. And that's precisely what I've done with my program, because I am so passionate about helping people in their business and partnering with them and being that accountability coach and being their friend in business, but being an expert to them, that it just is, I'm so passionate about it that I thought this is a way that I could actually reach more, create a community of like-minded leaders, because I find I learn more in those group sessions. And then you've got this trusted advisor by your side that can actually help you achieve the goals that you want to achieve. And it's actually the best way to do it because it's an intensive program. We sort things out quickly. We get you on your path, and then you've got the ongoing support if you need that or want that post the 3-month program, and then you're actually on your way. You've got a tactical plan to work with to achieve your goals. Very practical, very real, very tangible, and incredibly impactful.
Well done. Oh, that sounds amazing. Well done. Look, that brings me to the last question, and that's, is it something that people need to have leadership position to learn leadership or become part of your program, or they need to be part of your program or learn leadership to become leaders? It's like a chicken and egg thing.
Yeah, it's such a chicken and an egg. The answer is no, you don't need to pre-qualify or be in a certain role to come into the program. This program would absolutely suit an aspiring leader, someone that wanted to start their own business. It would actually, doing this program would enable them to fast track that and get the sound advice in order to not make the mistakes and to do it in a quicker time, but with the support, because it can be quite a scary journey when you're in business for yourself. And as you start to, oh, this is really going to happen. Oh, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Yes, you are. You can do this. And the way I work with my clients is I stand beside them and work with them and develop those leadership skills. And it's actually so wonderful to watch how these people, these are adults, these are clients in their 50s who are actually growing and and actually starting to come out of their shell. And I'm thinking, gosh, I really, I need to get out there to see more people because I know I can make a difference. And I'm so passionate about that. And I have the skills, the lived experience, the background, the credentials, and actually have demonstrated experience on helping my clients achieve the goals that they want to achieve. So it can actually develop your leadership skills. It can, and some people, quite frankly, are in leadership roles that don't have leadership skills, which can be a disaster. So I work with those people as well, and I can draw out those leadership qualities and kind of be like their conscience, if you like. Like I give them feedback, gentle but constructive. I point out to them things that they could improve, different approaches to things. So, you could have a seasoned CEO in my program, or you could have an aspiring young entrepreneur wanting to develop those skills. So, it could apply to all.
Oh, that's good to know. Wonderful. Any last word of advice you have for our audience, Natalie?
Well, I think if someone was considering going into a coaching program, firstly, I'd ask, well, what is the cost of doing nothing? So yes, you could probably figure it all out for yourself and study this and read that book and do that course and do that master's and get a job and get some experience. Or you can actually fast track all of that, use the combined knowledge that I have, and actually go for it and go for it fast. And sometimes the cost of doing nothing is the biggest cost of all. And I'd also say if someone says, oh, but I don't have time for that, I'm already so stretched, I'd argue that you don't have time not to do it. You must do it if that's your situation, because I can show you how to prioritize. I can show you how to work on what matters and get some of your life back. So it's critical. And I've got proven experience. So I've got clients that are achieving success, and I'm by their side and just love watching them thrive. It's actually doesn't even feel like work. So I'd really encourage people to look into it, whether it's me or someone else. And I even have people that I reach out to because I'm constantly learning. So even a coach needs a coach. Everyone needs a coach. We all need feedback. We all need support. We all need encouragement. And so I just say to people, consider it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Natalie. It has been an absolute pleasure to having you in our podcast. And your story of resilience and dedication to growth is just so obvious and is a testament to what you believe, and that you are here to empower people's lives and transform people's lives. So, and on the other hand, the depth of your experience and knowledge and your approach to a coaching program is so inspiring. And I'm sure for our audience, I'm pretty sure they're going to get in touch with you to find out for themselves and have a taste of your amazing coaching skills. And definitely your details with your bio and the link to all your socials will be in our comment section. Because this video will be released on YouTube, and then we'll go to our other social platforms. And yes, our audience will know how to reach out to you. And again, thanks again, Natalie, and best of luck with your ongoing mission to empower lives and just create better leaders for tomorrow and today's lives. Thank you.
Thanks so much for the opportunity. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.